Hey, what's up guys? Icy Soul for Icy Duelist here, and today we're going to be going over the first ever deck profile on Icy Duelist. This is my own personal deck that I use on Dev Pro. I have most of these cards on TCG, although there are some that I don't have, some copies I don't have, and I am looking to actually build this deck in real life with all the cards involved, and take it to a regional or something and see how high I can place with it. And notice this is for the October 2014 ban list. You know, if I ever feel like I need to go back to this video, if enough stuff has changed in the ban list, I need to go back to it and change some cards. I will actually change some cards and then give you guys an updated deck profile if need be. But as of right now, the only cards that may potentially change are Raigeki and BLS. But you know, as of right now, they are legal. So let's go into this deck profile. First off, we run 3 Valkyria. I find 3 Valkyria to actually be pretty good. It's my main beater of the deck, and it actually can help divert the attention away from smaller monsters, because it does have that effect where if it's face up, your opponent cannot target any other spellcasters but it. So, you know, if you have, for example, say Gagaga Girl on the field, you know, and you're afraid of her getting hit, but you need her effect or something, you can leave her in attack mode. Don't worry, as long as your Magician's Valkyria is on the field, it cannot target Gagaga Girl. So I love this card. She's cute, and of course this is my Dark Girlfriend's deck. All these girls are like my girlfriends, so, you know, how many girlfriends do I have? I have 3, no, just kidding. So, 3 Valkyria works pretty well. 2 Gagaga Magician. The only real reason Gagaga Magician is in here is to work with Gagaga Girl, honestly. I tried various builds, one with 2 Gagaga Girl, and 1 Gagaga Magician, one with 2 Gagaga Magician, and 1 Gagaga Girl. I tried a build with 1 of each, and I find that it usually, running 1 or 2 less of them, it generally just doesn't help the deck. So I ran 2 of each, just to be certain. As you see, you got Gagaga Girl here. And of course, if you're going for, like, say, a crazy box or something with Magician and Girl, you can actually, or say you have another powerful monster on board and you go for crazy box, you know, with Magician and Girl, you can actually decrease the attack of one of your opponent's monsters to 0. Say they got a Beals on board, or they got like a BLS on board or whatever, and you want to actually like get it so where you can have an opening to attack. Gagaga Girl has the effect where if you exceeds with her, you know, she can decrease any monster on the field's attack to 0 when it's exceeds summoned, so that gives you an opening to maybe push for game or something. So she's actually pretty useful in this deck. Next, we have 2 tour guides, and you may be thinking, well, what the hell good is a tour guide in a spellcaster deck? I mean, tour guide can only special summon level 3 fiends. That's all she can do. So, well, for one, she's cute, and that's why she's in this deck. But I have found her to be extremely helpful, because she can special summon herself if you have another copy of her in the deck. So she can special summon herself, and then you can go for some of the rank 3 Xyz, which actually can help turn the tide of a duel in this case. So that's why Tour Guide from the Underworld is actually in here. She's cute, and she can help pull out those rank 3s like that. So, you know, we have BLS Envoy. I mean, you know, with a deck like this that runs kind of both dark and light attributes, it actually works really, really well. I haven't been able to actually summon it yet from playing it, but I know once I do, it will actually be extremely helpful. You know, you can target 1 monster on the field and banish it, but it can't attack, or you can skip that effect and do the other effect where if it destroys a monster, you can attack twice. And plus, with the extra like attack power in this deck, this can be an OTK card. You know, if you play it right. So BLS definitely can help turn the tide of a duel. Now we have, for our tutor, we have the Witch of the Black Rose. Yes, she is kind of a drawback if you draw into her turn 1 and really you have no other plays but to actually play her, because then it's kind of up in the air as whether, you know, she can stay on board. But If you can keep her on board, like say if you have anything, if you have any spell cards at all, and her in your hand, just set your spell cards no matter what the hell they are, just set them, and or activate them if, you know, it helps, and then, you know, she won't trigger her secondary effect, which, or her effect, which, you know, is kind of crappy, because if she's the only card on board on your side of the field, and you summon her when, you know, when that happens, then if you don't draw a monster, she's just sent right to the graveyard, and, you know, you kind of lose it. You go kind of a minus with her. So you got to make sure she's protected from that effect by, like, setting something or whatever, but she is going to help you go for that Black Rose Dragon, which we'll talk about later, too. So you have two of those, plus she kind of works as a good 1700 beat stick, too, so, you know, can't really complain. Mahavailo, this is one of the biggest playmakers in the deck. There are some other good playmakers, but this one, holy hell. Mahavailo I run two of because I found that 2 is a good number to have for them. 1's a bit too less, 3's a bit too many, and 2 works really nice. And not only is this deck very equip heavy, so, you know, you're gonna be equipping stuff a lot, but this card also gains an additional 500 attack for each equip card equipped to it, and that goes not just for the equipped cards, but for traps that equip to it as well that, you know, aren't necessarily, like, equipped traps. So, Mahavailo, you can OTK with Mahavailo if you do it right. And yeah, you can boost this card up. I think the highest I've ever seen it is 8250. So yeah, you can boost this attack up pretty damn good. And you know, it's just an awesome playmaker for the deck. Next we have my little nurse girlfriend, Injection Fairy Lily. I run 2 Injection Fairy Lilies because with her cost, she is a bit hefty to use. 2,000 life points to activate her effect. But, you know, it's definitely good for, you know, just overpowering your opponent's monsters. Or maybe you have no other options but to, like, roll over a stronger monster with IFL. Yes, you will go back. You will be a minus with life points, but it still helps to have IFL on board, and if you can use her effect, you know, she does usually become the strongest monster in play, and you can roll over some of your opponent's more powerful monsters just by attacking over them. So, you know, it does kind of help. And plus, if they have nothing on board, direct attack is just brutal from IFL. So, especially if you boost her up, you can get her pretty high, and maybe OTK with her as well. You know, you just gotta play your cards right. Next, we run the centerpiece of my deck. 3 Dark Magician Girls, my partner. You notice she doesn't really gain anything from her effect in this deck. There are no Dark Magicians, there are no Magician of Black Chaos in this deck. But, you know, if you wanted to side in some Dark Magicians or some Sage of Stones or, you know, whatever, be my guest. I have other builds where I do that with this deck, and she can gain, you know, a little bit extra attack. But since her effect isn't that great, she only gains 300, I found that, you know, her effect is kind of useless, and I kind of just use her as a 2000 attack beat stick most of the time. Plus, you know, it's cool to just get her on the field, you know, it's just like, come on, Dark Magician Girl. So yeah, you can actually, you know, especially equipped with Gagaga Shield and maybe a few of the equipped cards, she can be kind of a beast. And I have yet to actually put a rank 6 Xyz in here, but if you do put a rank 6 Xyz in the deck, you know, she can get into that pretty quickly too. So yeah, 3 Dark Magician Girls for this deck. Next we have Sorcerer Dark Magic. This card, I always thought this card was kind of clogging up the deck until I got rid of it. I got rid of it in one of my previous builds, and I realized, holy crap, Sorcerer Dark Magic would have really helped. So I put Sorcerer Dark Magic back in here, because, I mean, he basically acts like a Jinzo, but, like, better, because Jinzo negates all trap cards on the field. This one, you can, a Sorcerer Dark Magic, you can actually select which traps activate and which traps don't. So, you know, he gives you kind of a bit more control than Jinzo, plus 3200 attack, and boost him up. You can OTK with him as well. He is extremely hard to get out, I'll say that. You need to normal summon him. I guess he's special summoned. But still, you need 2 level 6 or higher spellcaster type monsters on your board to tribute to get him out. So, you know, that's why I kind of run 3 Dark Magician Girls in here too, because Dark Magician Girl is kind of the only real thing that can get out Sorcerer Dark Magic, and it's good to have 3 of them, so, you know, you can have one plus the other 2 if you really need Sorcerer Dark Magic to come out. So, you know, but, yeah, if you can get him out in the field, which it is extremely hard to get him out, but if you can get him out, just like BLS, he can change the tide of a duel very quickly, especially against really trap-heavy decks, like Trap Tricks. Boom, shuts him out. So, you know, I love Sorcerer Dark Magic. Awesome card. Actually, funny story, Sorcerer Dark Magic, the only copy I have, I actually got as a promo from when I went and saw the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie in theaters back in Southbury Beach, when I went on vacation to Southbury Beach. So, yeah, fun story with Sorcerer Dark Magic. But anyway, moving on to spells, we have 2 dualities, just for a little extra draw power in the deck. You know, I'm sure you know what duality is. Running a field spell, Secret Village of the Spellcasters. I was surprised at how effective this is. Of course, it doesn't really do well against, like, say, spellbooks or, you know, other spellcaster type decks, because its effect is basically, making sure that, you know, that it'll only really work if your opponent doesn't have spellcasters. So, you know, decks that are spellcasters, or maybe decks that are running, say, like, DNA Surgery or something, you know, those will kind of get a little bit problematic, and this card kind of doesn't work against them. But in today's meta, you know, that doesn't have many spellcasters in the top tier, I found that, you know, this actually works really well. It shuts your opponent out from activating all spell cards, period, until they either get rid of your spellcaster monster on board or get rid of this card. Which, you know, more than often they'll obviously try to go for the card, so, you know, you keep your monster, which is pretty good. But yeah, the only downside really is that if you draw into this and, you know, you're 0 in the hand and you draw into this and you have nothing on board, then this actually really sets you back, because you need a spellcaster type monster on board in order for this to work. If you don't have a spellcaster type monster on board and you play this, you shut yourself out from spells until you can summon a spellcaster type monster. So it is kind of risky to play, but if you do have a spellcaster type monster on board, then holy shit, watch the doors fly open for you, because this card will just totally own your opponents, and they can't. So if you have Sorcerer Dark Magic and Secret Village of the Spellcasters on board, your opponent is more than likely fucked. So yeah, good card to have. Next we got Raigeki. If, you know, say the ban list changes and Raigeki gets banned again, you can easily swap it out for a Dark Hole. No problem there. It's just kind of one of those staple, like, just wipe the board of your opponent's monsters, you know, just, you know, for a little bit of advantage. 3 MSTs, fairly simple. This is where the deck truly shines in its equips. And I'm running 2 Mage Power, which Mage Power is just absolutely phenomenal. It gains the equipped monster gains 500 attack and defense for each spell trap card you control, including itself. So, like, if you get a Mage Power on board, maybe set a few like, say you set 2 of your MSTs, you get your Mage Power on board, your Secret Village of the Spellcasters, guess what? You just got 500, 1,000, 150, 2,000 attack. Your monster's gaining 2,000 attack and defense right off the bat. If you put that to IFL, her total attack power, you know, with her effect, is 5,400. Like, do the math. Like, you just run instantly, like, a brute attack force deck, and I think that's kind of what makes this deck shine. But even more of a hard hitter than that is United We Stand. And United We Stand, I'm running 3 because it's just so good. It's so good, especially with the special summon mechanics of today. You know, it's just so good. Of course, you don't really get the special summon that much in this deck, but, you know, if you can get multiple monsters on board, this card is just so good. And the equipped monster gains 800 attack and defense for each monster you control. So, you know, if you got a pretty big field, monsters on board, spell traps on board, if you got like Mage Power and United equipped to a single monster, then the attack and defense just gets insane. And it's like, you get 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 attack and defense, and it's just like, your opponent will be caught off guard with how powerful these weak little monsters can become. And I have thrown off a few of my opponents by boosting somebody like Gagaga Girl up to like 5,000 attack, and they're like, what? So it is pretty good to run through United. Then we have a single Call of the Haunted, in case you need to get a certain monster back from your grave, whatever. Gagaga Shield, since this deck is kind of a weak deck, kind of low tier, Gagaga Shield really helps this deck. Like, you target a spellcaster type monster you control, and it can't be destroyed twice per turn by battle or card effects. So they have to target your card with either a card effect or a battle 3 times to get over Gagaga Shield in a single turn. So generally, your opponent can't do that, and Gagaga Shield can help keep a monster on board for a little bit longer to pull off a bigger play. So I'm running 2 of those, and then we have 2 Magician Circle. This is really the main way I get out, either IFL or Dark Magician Girl. Sometimes I'll go for a Mahavailo if I think I can use it, but usually it's Dark Magician Girl that I go for, usually. Because all you need is a Spellcaster type monster on board, attack with it, and then activate Magician Circle, and of course you can obviously negate that attack after this effect resolves if you want, but you just attack with it, and you can special summon a spellcaster with 2,000 or less attack from your deck in attack position. So, Dark Magician Girl, generally the one I go for that, because, you know, that way you don't have to get her out with a tribute. And if you have since you have another monster on board, you know, it is kind of helps boost your, like, attack strength and whatnot. This is good for, like, especially if you have, like, say, like an IFL or another Dark Magician Girl or a Mahavailo equipped with, like, Mage Power. Then, you know, or Mage Power or United We Stand, especially United We Stand, then then your other monster with this special summon will get even more powerful if you haven't attacked yet, so that's really good. Now for our anti-meta cards, you can side deck these in, or I have them in my main deck simply, you know, to, you know, stand up to the meta. Wiretap, simple, just negate the activation of a trap card and shuffle it into the person's deck. And then Light Imprisoning and Shadow Imprisoning Mirror to deal with those Shaddolls, Burning Abyss, you know, the top tier decks right now. So that's the entire main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we have 2 Crazy Box. You see this shine in my last Duel video, and where, you know, it is kind of risky, but holy shit, it's fun to use. It's really fun to use. I mean, it's your entire, like, strategy is kind of at the mercy of the die, and, you know, it's kind of, it's just fun to use. Is it super effective to use? Not always, but it's definitely a fun card to use, and, you know, it's 3,000 attack even without its Exceeds materials is a pretty good wall for your opponent to get over, especially if you have nothing else on board. So, you know, it kind of helps. Next, we have 2 Chronomy Crystal Aliens as, you know, your as part of your rank 3 Exceeds. There's a lot of rank 3s actually in this deck, because Tour Guide makes them so available. So it's just 2100 beat stick that uses its Exceeds to avoid destruction. Plus your opponent takes any battle damage if you try to run over it with, like, the attack with the Exceeds material still attached. So, you know, that can kind of help a little bit. Next, this is probably the best Exceeds in the deck. Number 20, Giga Brilliant. Giga Brilliant, I find, is super good, especially when you equip it, because it has an effect where the Exceeds materials, if you detach one, it can gain 3. It gives every monster on your board 300 attack, including itself. So if you boost up it with, you know, Mage Power, United, whatever, and then activate its effects, say that's all you have on board. Mage Power, United, then you're getting what? A 500, 800, that's 1300, plus the extra 300, that's 1600 attack extra right off the bat. So, you know, it's, actually, plus, you get actually 500 more, because, you know, you got another spell card, so that's what? 1800 attack right off the bat. So, you know, it's pretty good, and plus it extends that 300 attack to all your monsters on board, which, you know, helps a lot. So Giga Brilliant's really, really good in this deck. If you can't go for an Xyz, I usually want to go for Giga Brilliant. Then we have two Ghost Trick Alucard. Say your opponent has some back row and you really want to get rid of the back row, you know, that's what you can use Alucard for, and he kind of helps, you know, if you really need him, he can help you out. Now we have two Downer Magician. I did have the other Magician card in here, but you know, it was kind of too hard to get out because I was 3 level 4s and this is only 2, so this one's obviously better. But yeah, if you have like Valkyria, Magician, Gagaga Girl with Magician's Effect on board, you know, Witch of the Black Rose, you know, some of these other rank 4 spellcasters that you have in the deck, which you have a lot of, it can inflict piercing battle damage, plus it gains 200 for each of 6 material attached to it, so, you know, it's a pretty good card. And finally, we're running a single Black Rose Dragon, because I fucking love Black Rose Dragon. I mean, it's the coolest synchro in the game. If you say otherwise, then screw you. So it's my favorite card. Just clear the entire goddamn board if you need to start over, and yes, it can't activate its secondary effect if you don't have any plant types in here, but it's mainly used to clear the field or, you know, attack over some other monsters, and it looks cool as hell. So, I mean, you know, one word you can say, it's Black Rose Dragon. I don't have a side deck because this isn't really a competitive deck, and I don't really use it in competitive play, really. But if you want to create a side deck for it, by all means, go ahead. I just don't have one because I don't really side deck, because I don't really do matches. I usually just do single duels, so I really see no need for a side deck. Doing just those single duels where you aren't allowed to side anyway, so whatever. But hope you guys liked it. That was my Dark Girlfriend's deck. As always, I'll leave a link in the description where you can download this deck for yourself for DevPro, import it into your game, and yeah, that's gonna be it. I'll see you guys on the next video. We have another discussion coming Tuesday, and another one of these deck profiles in 2 weeks. So, as always, this is IC Duel for IC Duelist, signing out.